for Guy Day Friday. Please welcome radio game show host, man, actor, funny dude, king, D.L. Hughley. So, just to get it started, this is what happened yesterday.
The leaks are absolutely real. The news is fake. To be honest, I inherited a mess. It's a mess. How many times do I have to answer this question?
Can you just say
Russia
yes or no
is
on
a
it?
ruse.
Are you going to include the Congressional Black Caucus and the Congressional
Well,
Hispanic
I would.
Caucus?
I tell you what. Do you want to set up the meeting? Do you want to set up the meeting?
No.
Are they friends of
I'm
yours?
just a reporter.
No, set up the meeting. I am the least anti-Semitic person that you've ever seen in your entire life. Number two, racism. The least racist person.
It wasn't even about that.
So, my question is like, there's a lot of carrying on and strutting and finger point. What's he distracting us from? What the hell went on yesterday? What happened?
Last time I saw a dude ran in a rave like that, the police came and got him. Like, really, you're going to have to ride with us. But I think that any man that wears a comb over, I have a theory about looks in the mirror and lies to himself every day.
That's
right?
true.
So if you can lie to your face, you can lie to America's. It's really not that hard. You know, I just think when he says the whole anti-Semitic thing, that those racist attacks are up, what, 2,000? There have been 2,000. And which is, I mean, if you're going to be racist, at least learn how to draw a swastika. Like, that's, like, I don't know if it's a swastika or is Zorro just left. What, you know, is you calling me a name or invite me to play tic-tac-toe? I don't know what's happening.
Well, you know, he lies. We know he lies. Everybody knows it now. You know, he's also given to hyperbole, as they say. He exaggerates everything. Yeah. So one of my favorite things he said was, we'd have a nuclear holocaust like no other. Right. The ratings would go through the roof. That's how great this nuclear holocaust would be. So, I mean, in a way, it's not funny. He's talking about a nuclear holocaust. He says things like, if I blew that boat out of the water, that Russian boat, a lot of people would think that was great. These types of, like, really volatile statements that he makes, I think are really dangerous. Yeah. On the other hand, as a comedian, I felt sorry for him. It was like he was bombing for 77 minutes.
Well, I didn't get to watch it live, but as anything, I like to check Twitter first and then go back. Yeah. So
solid strategy.
I knew I was in for entertainment because the first tweet I read was, I can feel myself entering the 6th stage of grief, hysterical laughter, hashtag Trump presser. And then another guy wrote, I think America should go stand in the corner and think very hard about what it's done, hashtag timeout, hashtag naughty step, hashtag Trump's presser.
The naughty step. But, you know, we talked about this. It's kind of the strategy. I mean, we don't even know where to begin. We talked about flooding the zone, just, you know, inundating us with different storylines and different narratives. And we don't, as media, we don't even necessarily know where to begin. But
oh, yeah, we do.
I mean, there's so many areas. There's so many different storylines.
The question I posed really was, what is going on? Because when he's doing all of this, stuff's passed. Congress just voted to roll back a rule that stops people with serious mental health problems from buying guns. We learned that at least 186 out of the 678 immigrants rounded up by the ICE last week have no criminal records. The House just overturned a rule that made states give family planning grants to Planned Parenthood and other abortion providers. Staffers at the EPA are openly calling congressmen, begging them not to vote for EPA opponent Scott Pruitt to be their boss. And Betsy DeVos's brother, who runs Blackwater and supported Trump, is reportedly offering to set up military training camps for the Chinese government. What the hell is going on?
Well, then that's going to happen.
Well,
listen,
that's what we've been saying for a while.
He's been doing all kinds of stuff, but the real stuff that people voted him in for is not the stuff he's doing. The stuff that people want from him, he does not seem to be able to give. And maybe it's because President Bannon hasn't given him the words to use yet.
What's ironic is Steve Bannon was accused of domestic violence, and so was Andrew Putzer. This cat has, like, he has wife beaters in his cabinet. So I don't know if he's, like, filling his cabinet or casting an Ike Turner review. I don't know what he's doing, but I think it's sad. It's sad to me that these kinds of things are happening. But but you had to have expected it. This is what a large percentage
I enjoy some of it, though, but he can't answer a question directly. He cannot answer. He doesn't know the answers.
No.
If he doesn't know the answer, he deflects.
Yeah.
So I suggest that the reporters should ask him the questions like, President Trump, where'd you buy that suit, at the Men's Warehouse? Or how's the bed in the Lincoln bedroom? Is it comfortable? Questions that he can actually answer.
That's a nice question. He was asking for that.
He won't even take the question, though. You saw when he got the reporter, and he said, this guy's going to ask me a nice question, right? And then he's like, sit down.
Oh,
like,
the Jewish guy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He only wants he got one question about Melania, and then he was like, see, that's a nice question.
Yeah, but you have to, at the same time, though, I agree. He's looking, there were moments of angst, anger, humorous moments, but I think the general consensus afterwards was he opened himself to the press for 77 minutes. But he opened himself up and tried to answer some of those questions. And, to your point, Whoopi, I do think whether or not you voted him in or not, he is trying to fulfill some of those promises. Defunding Planned Parenthood, one of the first executive actions or orders was to limit abortion rights, building the wall. So he is fulfilling some of those campaign promises.
But the wall is too expensive. It's not going to happen.
The law said to him, listen, you have to work within the laws. There are certain things that we have that you can't mess with. But for me, listen, whether you voted him in or not, there are a lot of questions that need to be answered.
Certainly.
And this is a gentleman who talks a lot about fake news, but puts fake news out there, says he won, by 300 and some, and the reporter got up and said, no, dude, you didn't.
To be fair, the guy, he got that stat from a guy who went to Trump University, so I look at Donald Trump and I'm glad, and I swear to God, I'm glad the first black president wasn't that dumb. I swear to God, that dude.
It's hard to call out the news.
If Barack Obama had done and cavorted with Russians, was just ill-informed and bantered around like that, this country would be on fire.
But he says the opposite. If this was Hillary, she'd get a pass. But me, you hate me.
He needs to let go of Hillary.
The thing about
she's not in this anymore.
Hillary's enjoying her grandchild. She's not thinking about your ass at all.
But he's at the same time that he's a victim. Why do everybody hate me? Poor me. He's a bully. Sit down and be quiet. At the same time, he's got this dual thing going on at all times, which is not a healthy thing.
It's just he's like that Joffrey from Game of Thrones.
Or Ramsay.
I can't understand what America was thinking, because at a certain point I get ideological differences. I do not get what they saw in that guy and with it. He could take us places we've never gone.
But there are people.
Look at where we are.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. In some good news, today's Black History Month, FYI, celebrates two artists who helped define dance in America. Katherine Dunham revolutionized American dancing by incorporating Caribbean folk dance into her choreography. She was one of the 20th century's most successful dancers in America and Europe, and ran the only self-supported black dance troupe of its time, the Katherine Dunham Dance Company. And 6 years after becoming the only black dancer at the New York City Ballet, Arthur Mitchell became the first black principal dancer of any major ballet troupe in 1962. He went on to co-found the Dance Theater of Harlem to inspire children in his old neighborhood to learn about the arts. It rose to become one of the premier ballet companies in the U.S. So a big bravo to both of them.
And you know what? That funding, all that wonderful government funding that we used to get for these kinds of programs have all been cut. Thanks, Mr. T.
You know what? Somebody wrote, I'd have to clear this up with, but in fact, the producers should check this. They said that the entire NEA budget is like one day of Melania at Trump Tower. Somebody find this out for me, the price that we're paying for losing the NEA, because the National Endowment for the Arts, because we are paying for this woman to live in New York with that child, not to mention all the trips that the sons take all the time. We are paying.
Spreading out the Secret Service. And
we are paying for all of that with our tax money. Just saying. Find out.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
Up next, should you be able to ask for your money back after a bad date? The ladies chime in. This February, The View. Coming up, Daily Show host Trevor Noah tells us all about his new Netflix comedy special and why he's afraid of the dark.
Welcome back. What happened?
ABC Legal Pusner, you know, Andrew Pusner, he was, his wife recanted her claims of abuse. And in Bannon, he was charged with domestic violence in 1996, battering and attempting to dissuade a victim from reporting a crime. He pled not guilty, but the case was dropped when his wife didn't show up in court. So that means he's innocent.
So the women backed off.
Yeah, but my cousin Pookie in jail for that right now. You know.
So I have to.
You say you have a cousin named Pookie?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God.
Everybody does.
Okay, let me just give the numbers, because we checked on the numbers, because about the NEA, the budget in 2015 was $146.2 million.
Right.
The wall, by the way, that he wants to build is going to cost $25 billion, and they say it's not going to really be effective.
Okay.
Hundreds of millions is projected to cover the Trump family travels in the next 4 years. Plus, it costs some estimates have security at Trump Tower being upwards of $1 million a day. So, in other words, a lot of stuff that they're spending money on the family and this fakakta wall that's not going to work.
What? For what?
What did he say?
And you know, Winston Churchill famously said during World War II, if not for the arts, what are we fighting for?
Well, you know,
And I dated Winston Churchill, so I know.
But he did say he was going to get the price of the wall to come down. Like, if he puts Ivanka Trump on the wall, it's going to go down demonstrably. They'll be selling it at Marshall. So it's...
There's something I know the administration went on record with ABC News and said the cost of building the wall would be, you know, in the billions.
25 billion.
25 billion, but the money saved every year because how much the drug industry costs America is somewhere like 250.
The law is not going to correct that.
I'm not saying it's going to. That's their response. That's their response.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. You know, please, just discussing it anymore is too much. Let's move on.
Like, they do jobs. Like, in America, you can work if you're willing to do a job people won't do, or you can do a job that they can't do. So if you won't pick a strawberry or you can't write an app, you better learn how to tell a joke. I don't know what they like. Well, I wonder what do they think is going to happen? Like, a day without, like, one man's immigrant is another man's cardiologist. It's what we're becoming is somewhere.
Well, yesterday was the immigrant day, and a lot of businesses shut down if they were run by immigrants, and I think they lost a lot of money. We should find out how much they lost.
It was an amazing thing, and you know, some people were saying, I guess you don't understand what an immigrant, what we're talking about. It's like, no, we actually do. You didn't understand what the day was about.
Exactly.
The day was about what it would look like, because we're all immigrants. Unless you're a Native American, you come from immigrants. And what the point was is whether, you know, what he's discovered, and I have to tell you, I'm a big fan of the law. I'm a big fan. Sometimes the law doesn't work the way you want it to, but sometimes it does. And basically, this judicial system has said, hold on, you can't do this. You can say, maybe we're going to stop you, but if you've never come here before, we're going to put 90 days before you can come. But you're not going to be able to take people who have worked their behind off, who have tried to get here, who have done it right. You can't stop them. So what he's learning is what is okay. What is okay and what is not okay. And, you know, everybody has to figure it out. Everybody has to figure it out. But I just want to clear one thing up because he suggested a couple of things that I want to just kind of clear up. You know, he says he inherited a mess. Actually not. Obama inherited a mess.
He did.
Because when Obama came into office, we were on the brink of a depression. The economy was losing almost 800,000 jobs a month. Unemployment was 7.8, headed to 10. The car industry was facing doom. We were still at war in Iraq and Afghanistan. Gays couldn't get married. Obama created 11.3 million jobs, job growth for 75 straight months. 75 straight months. In Obama's last month, unemployment was at just 4.7. And Trump just he just put the Goldman Sachs guy in charge of the Treasury Department. You remember the guy that got us towards the depression? Well, he's not in charge of the money.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's something to be said, too, and I think that Obama absolutely, unequivocally inherited a mess.
Yeah.
But if you look at the numbers, too, of the jobs, yes, the jobs are out there, but they're temporary jobs. Many of them don't offer benefits, and people have to have 3 jobs. We now have overnight daycare. I get that.
Sorry,
I'm just qualifying the jobs.
But you're qualifying in a way that is trying to justify something that you can't justify. Not you. I'm not saying you. I understand what you're doing. But generally, you know.
The general?
Obama came in Duda.
He did.
And got told, we're not giving you any, we're not helping, we're not doing anything.
Yeah.
In 8 years with no help, this is what this man did.
Yes.
And this guy says, mess, no mess. We'll be right back.
With you guys. So we're going for round 2. This stunning Louis Vuitton handbag worth almost $2 grand could be yours. Just go to our Facebook page to enter by next Wednesday and tune in next Thursday to see if you're the big winner.
Welcome back. Women are generally considered to be more eager and at times even desperate to fall in love.
Yep.
But a new study disproves this and claims that men fall in love or believe they have fallen in love much faster than their female compatriots. Have any of you guys or gals experienced this personally?
This study is crap. That's not true.
I think that this is an alternative fact. I'm just going to say it is.
Very good.
Wait, Joy. Come on.
That was a good one.
Was that a good one? I need some affirmation.
I can say that I fell in love with my wife faster than she did. Like,
But you were also like 12.
Yeah, but I fell in love with my wife. I knew I was going to marry the minute I saw her. So I think that I know that men, that's true. That's true. But, and I don't think she loves me now. I'm just playing.
It's been 31 years.
I think that men do fall in love with women faster, and I think that a man should always love a woman more than she loves him.
That I agree with.
But here's my question.
I've never met one of those men.
If you say that the man should always love the woman more, like how do you quantify that?
Well,
how do you know?
I go out every day and I buzz my ass, and she stays home, and I give her my money, and that's all I have to say about that.
Gee, I do the same thing.
There are things like my wife, she'll hear a noise and go, you know, she knows that there are things that she knows will happen. Like, men get insurance knowing that the woman that they leave the insurance for is going to marry another guy and live in the house they provided. They're going to do that. They'll do it, and they do it. Like, my wife is going, if I pass on, I'm going to have paid for a house, and she's going to be, whose is it? It's his, but he ain't here no more, so finish. I think the things that you do as a man, like, I think that men fall in love faster. I think we say it slower. We say it slower.
So you don't say it all.
Yeah, I totally disagree with this study. And funny enough, in the room when we were talking about it, everyone in the room was like, no, I totally see it. And I was like, who are you dating? Yeah. Because I have never met a guy that falls.
But don't they confuse lust and love? They confuse the two.
They're just horny. It's like totally different.
That's it.
It's true.
Well, before we go, let me ask you about this. Just before a British woman went on a date, apparently didn't enjoy herself and declined a second date. The man then sent her a text asking her to pay for half of the cost of the first date.
No.
So, was this man right to ask for a refund?
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
No, I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. If that happened to me, I would pay him back with interest just to get him off my back.
Well, that's the problem. He wasn't on your back.
Goodbye.
Here's what the funny thing about women. Like, women will have a man in their life that they had sex with that doesn't count. Like, I was drunk, or he, you know, I wasn't going through an emotional time. Men should be able to get money back. If you, like, a successful date to us is as we have a laugh and you give me some. And if you ain't gonna
excuse me.
DL, we're not product? Are we a product?
DL, you said a woman has one man. A man has like 10 women that he's like, it's nothing. It's nothing. Well, that's their payback. That's true.
I just feel like a 5-cent bottle of orange soda.
If you can't trust your president to get the right information on a Googleable fact, then can you really trust him with the harder stuff? Which, by the way, is everything else the president of the United States has to deal with.
Trevor Noah's a busy man these days. He's helping us all laugh through this insanity. As the host of The Daily Show, he's got a brand new Netflix special, Afraid of the Dark, and an amazing brand new book called Born a Crime, which I listened to because it's spectacular. Please welcome Trevor Noah. You know, so you took over The Daily Show. You kind of thought it was going to be interesting, and then and then you're in the middle of another poop storm. And what did you think when you saw this press conference yesterday? Were you?
You know what's strange is like this was Donald being Donald. You got to give him the credit for coming out and hosting a press conference. Part of me goes, this is. You know what was funny is in the beginning he's just reading. And he's doing well. He's just reading the words.
He's got people writing that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it's almost like he realizes this is boring. You can see the comedian in him kicking, and he's like, man, let's spice it up. Come on, throw the questions in. Let's do this. And that's when it blows up. And you can see he actually thrives on it. I feel like Donald Trump enjoys that feeling. That's why he said, tomorrow you're going to be saying, oh, Donald was ranting and raving. You're gonna, and he's like, yeah, I want you to say that. He was getting ready for his rally this weekend.
Right.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
He talks a lot about fake news, but you host a fake news show.
We do.
So
we do. We're the real fake news. I'm so offended by that because we're the real fake news, and now he's muscling in on our turf. That's not cool, man.
Is it? Because that's got to be hard to differentiate, like what is comedy and what's sad with him. Like you were talking, it's like. I don't know whether to cry or drink or do all of them, but you have to do it every night.
Well, you know what I always say to my friends is I go, at some point it's like we're all watching an asteroid coming to the Earth. It's coming. It may miss the Earth, but it's coming.
Right.
So some days you're going to cry, but some days you have to laugh and go, that asteroid is in the shape of a... There's moments where you have to be like, we may die, but it's a little funny. You have to admit. You have to admit.
Being the operative word. Go ahead, Joy.
So, you know, he has said that his administration is clearly in turmoil. It is in turmoil. He hasn't said that. He says it's running like a finely tuned machine.
Yes.
Like a suicide machine.
Like a doomsday machine.
Yeah. And so just this week we've seen Flynn out. Pudzer, the guy who you were talking about before.
Who allegedly beat his wife.
Allegedly beat his wife. So who's next, do you think? Spicer, Melania? Who's next?
Did you say Melania? Shame. Who's next? We don't know. I mean, the Trump administration seems to be working on different levels. So you've got Trump, and then you've got Bannon, and then you've got Bannon who's working with Miller, and then you've got Kushner who's doing his own thing, and then you've got. It's almost like you've got multiple administrations running separately from each other. So who's next? Nobody knows. I don't think Spicer's going to do well because you can see that Spicer knows what facts are.
Yes.
And he's struggling with what his mind has to do and what his mouth has to do.
Yeah.
So when they ask him a question, you can see it's like he's translating truth into what he has to say.
Yes.
So they go, what do you think? And he's like, well, the president believes that. The president believes that. He believes that.
But in a way, isn't Spicer the most guilty because he knows better?
Yes.
They're all guilty. They all know better. All those Republicans know. All the Democrats, they all know.
But it's their job, though. They gotta lie. Like he looks at them, and you get fired if you don't lie.
But nobody's holding a gun to his head.
And the question, I guess, I want to ask you, because you grew up under apartheid.
Yes.
Okay? So you know what racism looks like. You've seen all the variations that it comes in.
Yes.
And so when you look at this, do you think people are not being clear about what they're seeing and hearing when he makes certain statements that he's made?
Well, here's the thing you have to acknowledge in America. In South Africa, we were lucky in that we were suffering through racism, but in the most blatant form. It was uncut, it was pure. Everyone said, I'm a racist, this is what I feel. America went through a change, you know, through the Nixon years where they said, guys, we can't say the N-word. Let's say low income. We can't say black people. Let's say, if you look at...
Welfare Queens was one of those.
Yes. Welfare.
Right.
And those are the key words. America has a branding problem. Let's be honest, that's the truth. America has a branding problem, and Republicans are really good at branding things a certain way. It's not the Affordable Care Act, it's Obamacare, which makes it sound like Obama's just going to come hug you when you hurt yourself or something. That doesn't sound professional. Obama, oh, come on, bring it in. I'll give you a hug. It's not, no, it's the Affordable Care Act. But if you call it Obamacare, then there are some people who go, I don't want that.
That's right.
I don't want that thing from the Obama.
I feel bad for this administration because, you know, the Bannon and Nelson are white supremacists, and it's Black History Month, and they got to find something nice to say about black people 28 times. That got to be... The best I can say, at least it ain't Cinco de Mayo. I really feel bad because like you did grow up in apartheid, but I think that there are elements like the reason I dig you so much is because you have a way of being very clear, and I think that America has a problem with clarity. and we all know what the words mean.
Yes.
Yes.
But I think that it's uncomfortable for people to admit that that man is a racist and surrounded by race. Like you have to know that you see similarities.
But you know what's tough is this. This is the question I ask myself all the time. I go, when are we going to start treating racism like a disease?
Yeah.
That's my problem. I go, when do we start treating racism like it's a disease? Because when you say, like right now, think about it. If you look at an alcoholic, we go, this person has a problem.
Let's not look at me right now.
They say it's a disease now.
No. I'm just saying. If there was a time when you said, oh, you're just a drunk.
Right.
And now we say, no, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
We need to help you. And I think it's the same with racism. Racism is hereditary. It is passed down. You teach it to your children. It grows generation to generation. And you have to know that you can have it inside you. You're susceptible to it. But if we treated it like a disease, we wouldn't shun people. I don't understand how we think it's going to change when we go, you're a racist, get out of here. But then where do they go and why would they change? Right. So all you're doing is you're piling people into a group who then go, well, I guess we're all racist now. And then it stops having the effect that you want. Do you want them to change or do you want to maintain the higher ground? That's all I ask myself all the time.
I like for it to be open. Like I would like people, like when people say, I don't see color. Like I hear people say, I don't see color. If you don't see black people, how come you're so good at describing us to the police? I don't understand that. I never understood that.
You know, Trevor, before you want to do the end? I was going to say the correspondence dinner is coming up, and a lot of celebrities are boycotting.
Yes.
A lot of news people say they won't show, but do you want to host it? Why?
Oh, I would host it. I would gladly host it. Yeah, as long as Donald Trump shows up, I would host it. Why not? Isn't that what it's about? Isn't that? I feel like the White House Correspondents' Dinner is a pressure release valve. It's steam release. It's a celebration of free speech. The president's sitting there.
Would you be rough on him? Would you roast him? That's what
I would just tell the truth.
Well, he doesn't like that.
Well, that's not. No, I mean that's not my fault, though. I mean, come on.
Okay. All right. I hope you do it.
I hope you do it too. I hope you do it too. Trevor's going to stick around. We'll be right back. The conversation's really good. Make sure you come back.
No matter what your view.
You may hate someone's ideas, but you better fight to the death to protect their right to say it.
This is the place.
If I have the power at this table to change one heart or mind, then I've done my job.
For your voice to be heard.
We talk about everything. This show was like, hey, welcome back. We are back with Trevor Noah. I want to talk about your book because it's amazing how far you've come, given where you started. You literally born a crime, being a mixed-race baby when interracial relationships were still illegal in South Africa. And one of the stories you tell is sort of having to get tossed out of the car while it's moving. Please explain.
Well, you know, South Africa was a country that was, as you say, was separated by the apartheid laws. And apartheid was really perfect racism because it wasn't just about separating black and white. It was convincing that black and black were different from each other.
Yes.
And that's what hatred is based on, blaming other people for the ills of society. And so,
it's called scapegoating.
That's exactly what it is. And so when we were growing up one day, my mom and I were driving in a taxi, in a minibus. You've seen them in South Africa. And the driver of the car was offended. He was a black man. And he was angry that my mother was my mother because he was like, you have been with a white man. You are a whore. And he was like, today you're going to die. And this was something that you had heard of. We knew this was always around the corner in South Africa at the time. And so my mom, and I was half asleep at the time, she said to me, hey, at the next traffic light, we're going to jump out, because the guy wasn't stopping at any lights.
Oh, my God.
And she said, we're jumping out. And I didn't sort of hear her, and then the next thing I knew, I was out. She just opened the door, tossed me out, and my baby brother, she held him, and then she jumped out, tumbled, cocooned him perfect. Moms are just like, I don't even know how they do it. They're just like superheroes without the capes. And then she tumbled, and we got up, and then we ran together. And that was just, it's strange to say this, but that was life. You know, people were living that life at a time when South Africa was coming out of the throes of some of the most hateful period we ever lived through.
How did living in hiding affect you?
You know what's strange is it didn't affect me. I won't lie. My mom and dad were so good at creating a reality for me, and that's where I go. Like, your parents are powerful. Your reality is more powerful than what the reality is. What you believe it is more powerful. You know. And my mom, all she needed me to know was that I was loved. So as a kid, I was like, I love being indoors. I love reading books. They don't let me go outside because they said someone's going to steal me. I don't know who that is. All I know is that means I'm valuable, so I'm going to stay indoors. You know? I didn't know it meant the police were going to take me away because my mom wasn't supposed to be my mom. I thought it just meant, like, yeah, I'm special. So I stayed in. I saw my dad win. My mom could sneak me to him. But I did not know how dangerous my world was. And that's where I credit my mom for breaking those rules and cocooning me in that, you know?
Your mom sounds like an incredible person. Definitely. And she was fearless, as you're saying, the way you're describing her. So how were you like her? I think
how am I like her?
You like her.
Oh, I inherited her sense of humor, but I mean, I try every day to be as fearless as her. But my mom, like many black women, realized very early on that they were at the bottom of the totem pole in society. You know, black women have to fight. People go like black people, and I go, yeah, but black women are at the bottom. As a woman and as a black person, you're at the very bottom level. And so you have to be stronger, and then on top of all of that, you have to raise men. And that's what my mother had to do with me. So I every day aspire to her, but I go like, I'm timid compared to that woman. She is fearless, she is brave, she is everything. And then I'm just chasing every day. I go like, maybe one day I'll get it.
But she got you in trouble sometimes, right?
Who? My mom?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she played with trouble. That's what she did, you know. Because she didn't believe in the laws. She went, if I don't believe in, if I don't believe in these laws, I'm going to fight them. And my mom always used to say to me, she said, we can fight them, and more importantly, we can mock them. Yes. Because when you mock them, you do not give them the status that they feel they deserve.
And that's what we do, comedians.
That's what we do.
That's right.
That's exactly what we do.
I always look at a comedian, I listen to them long enough, and you can always tell the story that made them who they are. Like, it breaks most people, and it's the thing we laugh at. And you talked about your mother, and I remember, it's funny because I was watching Beyonce during the Grammys, and everybody was lauding how, and she looked beautiful dancing pregnant, and I was like, every mother I knew went to work pregnant. Like, everybody I knew. Black mothers had a baby in the break room and went back to work.
Right.
Like,
that's right.
And so, and it's that kind of thing. It's so funny because when you have that kind of confidence, I was reading that it said you had low self-esteem and it was hard for you to talk to girls. Yeah. So that doesn't seem that.
Oh no, but I mean, you know, it's funny. We only see people as we see them, right? So that's what people even say. You know, when black celebrities talk on TV, or when women who are successful talk on TV, they go, "Oh, you say women are oppressed, but you're hosting a show. You say black people are oppressed, but you got some jewelry."
Anecdotal
exactly.
Evidence.
That's what it's like. You don't know where I came from.
Yeah.
So for me, I go, my thing didn't even come from apartheid. I was just struggling with acne. My face was covered with this stuff. I couldn't talk to anyone.
Now. Isn't it
was
cute?
awkward.
Yeah,
I was depressed.
Everybody's talking about you now.
And that's something that, you know what's funny is you see it tied in. You look at ISIS, you look at the alt-right, you look at all of these stories. What ties in? Low self-esteem and impotence, people feeling like they're not enough, so they try to oppress others.
Let me plug your stand-up gig before we go, because we're running out of time then. It's called?
It's called Afraid of the Dark.
Afraid of the Dark, okay. And since we know that you're very literal with your title choices, what does this mean? Are you literally afraid of the dark?
I'm literally afraid of the dark. I don't know why.
But you're not uncomfortable here. No. Thank you. Listen, you come anytime. You come talk
I would love to come
anytime.
Back. Thank you so much for having me.
And this book, I'm telling y'all, everybody is going home with the audible version of this book, Born to Crime, read by Trevor himself. Catch his hilarious Netflix special, Afraid of the Dark, on February 21st. We will be right back. Comedy Get Down tour.
Me, George Lopez, Said the Entertainer, Charlie Murphy, and Eddie Griffin will be in Orlando tomorrow. And,
love that. Yeah, and speaking of politics, on Tuesday we're going to be joined by Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. So you want to be here for that. And you know what? Thank you guys for coming to the live show, and thank you for watching us. Love us or hate us, we know that you